Alright, I'm going to show you today how to check for ABS codes on this. This is an 02 Tacoma, so any body style like this one is how you do it. And I have a lot of resources, but I have the Toyota TechStream program on my laptop here, but we're not going to use that because not a lot of people are going to have that, and so we're going to do it the alternative way. And I'm referring directly to Toyota TIS, so this isn't like the forums or the Google or whatever. This is right straight from Toyota with my name and password. So I'm going to run you through so I can reference everything so you know that this is accurate. To go ahead and do this, check codes kind of like the pre-check. You would basically turn the key on and then watch and see what the ABS light does. So I have the key on right now. In fact, I'll turn it off. I will turn the key on. 2 clicks. 1, 2. So not on accessory, but powered on. Don't need to start it. So looking at the ABS light there, kind of all the lights will come on for a bulb check. You're not getting any DTCs from that. It's just on. And you can go ahead and try to get a scan tool that's going to scan for ABS DTCs, but the vehicle's just not equipped. It doesn't have that ability. It doesn't communicate like a powertrain control module. And I have my generic scan tool. Doesn't matter. I have the Toyota TechStream that they would use in the dealer. In fact, this is the one with the Mongoose cable. But you can't. It just doesn't work that way. And so we're going to follow this documentation from Toyota. And basically, we go ahead, we come down, and it's saying check the DTC using a SST, which is Toyota's special service tool. We're going to connect 2 terminals, TC and CG, on the DLC3. So that's the, well, as everyone calls it, the OBD. It's the diagnostic port, or some people call it the ALDL, a lot of names. You want to see the special service tool? There you go. It's, well, depends on how you really want to do it, but this is just basically a little jumper piece of wire that has the right terminals crimped onto it. You could carefully use just the wire, but if you're going to front probe the terminals, be really careful not to spread them out. But this is it. Super easy. You could probably even use a really small T-pin and jump to 2. And so here's the diagram. CG and TC. So I like to kind of refer to them as like terminal 4 and terminal 13. And so we're going to really follow the steps. We're going to turn the key back off. So that's what it calls for. I'm going to take it right out. Then we're going to go under. I'm going to remember the numbers 4 and 13. And make sure you know where it starts. So the 1 through 8 is on the larger side of the connector, kind of like on the top side. So we're going to go under there. You'll see the connector is down here. This is where it's going to get a little tricky to show, but we're looking at it, and just going by the diagram you should be able to pretty much go for that. So we're looking at it, and you can see hopefully the kind of like the larger side is this side here. And so I'm going to make sure the orientation is right, and this would be number, I get this aftermarket wiring out of the way, 1, 2, 3, so there's 4. I'll make sure I get my terminal inserted well. Tough to do it while watching the camera. So 4. I believe the other one was 13, but let's check, because this is a scary time right here. If we jump the wrong stuff, you might be buying an ECM or some ECU on the circuit. So that's right, 4 and 13. So I'm gonna jump back under there. 4, and get you guys so you can hopefully see. Pretty dark. 1, 2, 3. 13 is here. So again, I would really go by the picture that I'm showing you of my service info, it's going to be more accurate. Just make sure you get it lined up like that. And from there, we'll go ahead, we'll follow through. So again, I went under, I made sure I found the long side, and then I could make sure that the top left corner was 1, 2, 3, counted to 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so that's how I made sure we were jumped right. 4 and 13, and then we'll follow the steps. Turn the ignition switch on, and I know what's going to happen here. We're going to read the DTCs, and so it's going to look like Morse code basically. So I know this has codes. To be honest, I have the 2 front wheel speed sensors disconnected right now, so going to go back for the key, and 2 clicks. So there's our ABS light that was on solid. Now look at this. 1, 2, 3. Space. 1. Okay, that's 31. 1, 2, 3. Space. 1, 2. That's 32. So we got 31 and 32. Again, there's 3. There's 1, so that's 31. 3. 2, so 31 and 32. It's just going to keep flashing them over and over and over and over and over. So we're going to look down here, and so that is basically how to check codes, but there's a little bit more info, and it explains, you know, here's what a normal would look like: on off, on off, on off, on off. Not a whole lot of you know, variation there, just straight flashing. If you have codes, for example, use my mouse here, code 11 would be flash, flash, long space, and then 21 would be flash, flash, space, 1. So that would be if there were 2 codes, 11 and 21. Now we have codes 31 and 32. So I'm going to take that a step further, and rather than navigate through here, I've saved something. So I'm going to jump on my desktop, which I saved the DTC chart for these Tacomas, and I'll just cruise through here, because now you should know how to get the codes. It's always 2 digits. So if you have 11, you're looking at ABS faulty relay. Now I'm going to be really clear, because I'm not like the DIY guy. This is what I really do. I train techs. 11 being an ABS relay faulty may mean the relay, it may be an open or short in the ABS relay or circuit. So the relay or the circuit, that could be the wiring anywhere between the module and where the relay is located, or it could be the ECU. And we're not talking the engine control unit, we're talking electronic control unit, which would be the ABS module in this case, or Toyota calls it the skid control ECU. So just because you get the code doesn't mean you slam whatever part that is mentioned in there. I mean, you can if you're a DIY and you got nobody to blame, but professionally we would need to do some further diagnosis, and that's a whole nother thing that I can't show you just in a quick YouTube video. But we'll run through some of the other codes. A 21 ABS solenoids, which those are inside of the skid control ECU and the ABS module, kind of like assembly. And there's 31, so you'll notice 31, we have that code, and it's right front wheel speed sensor signal malfunction. And we kind of knew that because I have it disconnected, as I'm showing you how to check codes, and this vehicle has a little history to it, trying to get some problems figured out, and the dealer hack tech couldn't figure it out because he said he wasn't able to do a health check. You don't get to do a health check on this. It's a O2. It doesn't work that way. This is what you have to do. Here's a DTC 32, left front wheel speed sensor signal malfunction. Well, that makes sense. We have 31 and 32. We have them disconnected. Now continuing, 33, 34, 37, 41. We scroll down. 44, 48, 49, 51. If it's always on, that indicates a malfunction in the ECU. So that's that skid control ECU. So I'm just really trying to show you how to actually check codes, and again, you're not going to get your scan tool to show any of these. This is like OBD1 style, because they weren't required to make it standardized like class 2 OBD2 stuff. They can flash codes or not flash codes or do whatever they want. It's not, the federal government doesn't have any say in how they display DTCs for non-emission system, and ABS has nothing to do with emissions, so this is how they do it. And this is a O2, so go ahead and look at all those. You can pause or back up, because you're going to have one of these codes if you have a problem, if your light's on. And then just to show you where that skid control ECU is, ABS module, looking at this guy, so this side of it is more the hydraulic side. It's got the solenoids and the valves, and then this side of it's the electronic side, which has the module and the logic and the program. And so together they're going to work and basically modify your brake pressure to prevent lockup. And then I believe the relay is going to be in the typical regular relay fuse block. And so jumping back in there, this next steps were pretty interesting. There is, so we're gonna jump out of this document and jump back in to where we were here. So after you've completed the check, you know what codes you got. It may be, I'm not really going to tell you exactly how to diagnose it because there's a lot to know, but it may be worth clearing the codes, and so I will show you how to clear the codes to clear the DTC. So we're going to connect TC and CG, which I'm going to confirm that's what we've already got jumped. Alright, if we scroll up, TC and CG, we've already got jumped. They're jumped right now, in this moment. So we're going to do connect the 2, which we have, turn the ignition switch on, clear the DTC by depressing the brake pedal 8 or more times within 5 seconds, and then we're going to watch that the light's going to change to the normal code, which is just on, off, on, off, on, off. And so this is really the way, right? You're looking at that ABS light. Let me even get it nice and close. That's still flashing the code, right? I'm going to show you down here. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do it a bunch of times. Okay. Now I might not have pressed quite hard enough. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That should have been fast enough. Sometimes they can be a little bit weird, so what I'm going to do is kind of reset it by taking the key out, shutting it off. There you go. Keys out. Go back in. Put the key in. Okay. And I'm going to make sure I'm getting the pedal pressed hard enough to make the brake lights come on. So I'm looking at the back and I'm going to try to see maybe a reflection or something. Yeah, I got to press it a little harder. So, here we go again. Still getting those codes. Now. Okay, so I'm going to recheck. This is the procedure. I've done it before. I'm going to help myself out a little bit by starting the truck. Get myself a little bit of ABS assistance here. Ah, you know what? I remember now. We've got to fix our issue first. So, let me show you. Let's say that you fix your problem. Maybe you find it's a sensor or whatever. So if you have an active code that procedure wouldn't have cleared it. It's just, you'll notice I was doing the procedure and I forgot I left these disconnected. I was doing the procedure and it wasn't clearing it because it's still current. So I'm going to go ahead, tricky to do one-handed. I am going to connect this sensor back in, both of them. Real tricky one-handed, but there you go, one in. Let's say this is where you're fixing your problem. Basically, and then we're going to confirm it by clearing the DTC, and you'll see it doesn't come back. And I'm going to set the phone down for this one. You saw what I'm doing. Too tough to do with one hand. We'll just jump back in here. Alright, remembering the procedure. Key on. Still got the jumper down in there. And at this point, right, here's the pedal, and you can see both my foot and the light. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure I got another good press on there. Weird little procedure. Now, look at the ABS light. Flash, 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 flash. That's normal. That's no DTCs. So, took a little bit of remembering, but when you fix your problem and you clear your codes, this is what you're going to see. So this is no codes. Or in my case, I haven't fixed this truck yet. I wanted to clear the codes and kind of start fresh, and so I'm going to do that. I'm going to follow some other procedures and put it into check mode, and I'm gonna have to drive this, and I'm gonna have to do some oscilloscope, and this one's gonna get a little deep, but there's your basic run through on how to check codes and also how to clear codes. And so the rest of these procedures can be a little bit too specific, but there you go.